Takuya was feeling overwhelmed. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing, his sister was sending him excited messages asking if he was really getting married and if he would bring his fiancée home to Aso. She even asked about pastry shops in Tokyo, totally unaware of the stress he was under. The marriage wasn't real, but now he had to go all the way back to Aso just to tell his family the truth. He wished he could handle it all without leaving Tokyo. He looked at the small frog-shaped stone Riga had given him. Even though he told himself it meant nothing, it somehow made him feel good. He remembered Princess Claudia saying he and Rika looked like a lovely couple. He shook the thought away, trying to stay focused. Then he remembered how Rika had scolded him for letting another woman into his apartment. Maybe she was trying to remind him to take their fake marriage seriously. Takuya realized he couldn't back out now. They were in this together and he had to follow through. On the other hand, Rika was stuck in her thoughts. She kept replaying the embarrassing moment at Takuya's apartment and felt like she'd messed everything up. It was already Friday and she wasn't sure if Takuya was going to Aso as planned. She wanted to ask him but didn't know how, and her feelings were getting all mixed up. At work, their coworker Gonda suddenly asked Takuya if he was going home to meet his parents. It sounded like everyone already knew about the fake engagement. Other colleagues joined in, sharing their own in-law stories. Rika was shocked and nervous. She didn't even know what Takuya was planning. Luckily, Takuya brushed off the comments and calmly told Rika he would go to Aso alone and stick to the plan. Later, Rika received a strange call. A mystery voice asked if she was going to meet Takuya's family, saying it was only natural for a couple to go together. The person even said, "I'm watching you," which gave her chills. Meanwhile, Takuya dropped off his cat, Kama, at a local animal clinic before his trip. The vet, Senmori, cheerfully welcomed the cat and told Takuya it was the best cat hotel in Kanto. When asked about his trip, Takuya vaguely replied that he was going to visit family. He was still thinking about the creepy call and guessed Rika had probably gotten one too. He wondered if someone from their office was behind it. Takuya planned to be honest with his family. Tell them the marriage wasn't real, but ask them to keep it a secret from his coworkers. That way, they could protect the lie and make it seem like Rika had just gone along to meet the family. They would stay overnight at a hotel in Kumamoto, then head back to Tokyo. While paying the clinic, Takuya sighed about all the extra costs, plane tickets, hotel stays, and needing to thank coworkers for covering shifts. The vet thought he was complaining about the cat fees, but he quickly said he was just tired. Senmori tried to cheer him up with those silly cheer. Takuya thought she was a bit odd but kind. He looked at Kama and quietly told him everything he was doing was for their little family, him, Rika, and the cat. At the same time, Rika felt a bit calmer, knowing he and Rika were going to Aso together. She didn't know how to tell his family the truth, but felt she had to try. She also started worrying about what clothes to wear. That reminded her of her childhood, when she used to ask her mom if her outfit looked okay. Her mother would gently remind her to be confident and wear what made her feel good. At the airport, Takuya noticed Rika had arrived. She looked nicely dressed for travel, while he just had his usual backpack. Even though he told himself it wasn't a real visit to meet the in-laws, it certainly felt like it. As they waited, Rika mentioned she had visited Kumamoto a few times as a kid. Takuya asked if it was for vacations, and she seemed unsure how to answer. Then Rika offered to talk about her family. Takuya said she didn't have to, but admitted he'd like to know. She explained that she had grown up with just her mother, since her father wasn't around. Her mother traveled a lot for work, and Rika often stayed home alone. As a child, she tracked her mother's business trips using maps and imagined visiting places like Fukuyama and Hiroshima. She once saw Mount Fuji on a rare trip with her mom and remembered how huge it looked. She also mentioned a woman named Miss Aki who used to check on her. She would feel sorry for her, saying she must be lonely, but Rika always said she was fine. She had gotten used to being alone and even found joy in it. She liked studying maps and creating little imaginary journeys. She'd pretend to arrive in cities her mom visited and explore them in her mind. Harbors, mountains, castles. It was her way of feeling close to her mother. Takuya listened quietly, realizing that even though Rika had spent a lot of time alone as a child, she had found her own way to be strong. She hadn't changed much, still thoughtful, still quietly curious about the world. And somehow, without even meaning to, they were slowly learning more about each other.
Just then, Takuya's grandmother appeared out of nowhere. She was happy to see Takuya again after so long. Rika was a bit confused, but she soon learned that this was his grandmother from his father's side. The grandmother explained she was at the airport to deliver melons to a seller and happily offered them a ride back to Aso. Meanwhile, back at Takuya's family home, his sisters Haruko and Izumiya had just arrived with their mother, Ikuko. Their father, Koichi, had gone out to help his mother with the melons. Haruko was curious when Takuya would show up, and Izumiya mentioned he hadn't replied to her messages about his upcoming marriage. Ikuko teased that maybe he was avoiding his bossy older sisters, which they denied, saying Tokyo was way scarier than them. Back at the airport, Takuya's grandmother, still not knowing the truth, asked who Rika was. Rika politely introduced herself as his co-worker, Honjoji. The grandmother, pleased and curious, asked if Rika was Takuya's fiancée, since Koichi had said so. Takuya was shocked to hear this. Rika quickly cleared things up, explaining the marriage story was a misunderstanding and apologized for the confusion. Takuya backed her up, saying they weren't in that kind of relationship. Sensing the awkward moment, the grandmother changed the subject and invited them to her fruit farm nearby. She wanted them to have some melon before heading home and reminded Takuya how much he used to enjoy visiting. At the farm, she explained that she and Takuya's grandfather were still busy preparing melons for shipping, though she did most of the work since her husband wasn't feeling well. Takuya immediately offered to help with packing boxes, and the grandmother said she would go snip more melons. He apologized to Rika for the delay, but Rika offered to help too. The grandmother smiled and asked if Rika had ever cut melons before. When Rika said no, she gave her some plain clothes to change into so her nice ones wouldn't get dirty. Rika changed into the plain clothes and followed the grandmother into the field. She learned how to snip the melons properly and was told not to cut too close to the fruit. Working under the hot sun, Rika found it odd that she was helping on a melon farm when she was supposed to be helping reveal a fake marriage. As she looked around, she realized they were standing in a huge, ancient crater from a volcano. The land was full of life. People lived here, grew fruit, and even trains passed through. For a moment, she felt amazed by human effort, but reminded herself not to get distracted. Inside, Takuya met his grandfather, who groaned about his back pain. He helped with the work and worried about his health. Later, the grandmother gave them some freshly picked melon to eat. Rika found it delicious, and the grandmother proudly explained how much care went into growing them. She talked about how the fields used to be full of grapes, strawberries, and melons, but now things had slowed down and fewer people worked outside. Trying to lighten the mood, Takuya turned on the TV for his grandfather, but the old man just kept complaining about his back. Then the grandmother gave Rika a thoughtful look. She said she could tell that Rika and Takuya were truly getting married. Even when Rika tried to explain that it wasn't true, the grandmother smiled and said she understood. She explained that the men in the family were not great at talking about feelings and could be difficult. She seemed to hint that Takuya's father might also be stubborn, especially about land issues, and told Rika not to worry about him. The grandmother kindly told Rika that she knew life with Takuya might not be easy since he was a bit awkward. Rika silently agreed, thinking she was just as awkward herself. The grandmother softly encouraged her to always get along with Takuya, saying even if there were things they couldn't say out loud, she knew from looking at his face that he cared deeply for Rika. She asked her to take care of him. Right then, Rika suddenly collapsed. The grandmother panicked, thinking it was heat stroke, and quickly called for Takuya. He rushed over worried while the grandmother said she would call the local doctor, nicknamed Dr. Whiskers. She told Takuya to carry Rika inside gently. As he lifted her up, he mumbled about how heavy she was and how his back hurt too. Still, he promised her she would be fine. After calling the doctor, the grandmother guided Takuya to the entrance and said the doctor would come for a house call. As Takuya carried Rika inside, he looked up and saw his father, Koichi, standing there.